moving like a little slinky all over him and grinding on him and all of that. And he says, what's the story, morning glory? What's the word, hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for another review of Love in Paradise. Ultima-tums-tums. Now, this is a franchise of 90 Day Fiance, but it's more centered around the non American coming from the Caribbean and the American, obviously, living in the United States. So, we're starting off with Stephen and Martine. So, Martine is still in Barbados. I think this is probably day 2 or 3. I'm not sure. And this time, she's having dinner with Stephen's family. So, Martine tells us in her confessional that after the conversation between her parents and Stephen, she has not been feeling very confident about how that went. She's got some serious concerns. So her concerns are the fact that her parents basically don't think much of him. They're probably very worried about her being with him, and he did not make a good impression on them at all. So she's still trying to process all of that while she's having this dinner with his family. So Stephen's father, in his little confessional, says that, he was a little bit skeptical about his son dating a girl who was not an island girl. And I wish that they would have given a little bit more information for that. Like, as far as what, like, traditionally, islanders are only with islanders, or do they have some type of a issue with her being from America, or, what exactly is the issue? He said something about, different cultures and coming from different countries, but, I felt like I needed more information about that. So the sister-in-law asks, so what does the future look like for you guys? And Martine, like, really didn't say anything because she's waiting on Steven to say something, because Martine, if she had it her way, they would be getting married the very next day. So she really didn't want to say anything without hearing what he had to say first, because he's the one that, no one is really sure about exactly what he wants. So when the sister-in-law asked, what does the future look like for you? Martine was silent and Steven was silent, and the only thing that you could hear were the crickets chirping. That's all you could hear were the crickets chirping, because we're having dinner outside. So then they asked her, well, how do your parents feel about Steven? And she said that my parents are very concerned because of the fact that, he's a DJ, and they understand the DJ lifestyle where he's partying all the time. And, he probably has a whole bunch of girls around him constantly. And then they asked her, well, what took y'all so long for him to finally meet your father, to finally meet your parents? Y'all been together for so long, 3 years or something, and he's just now getting a chance to meet your parents. And Martine said that she had made a promise to herself long ago that the only man that she would bring to her father would be a man that she was going to marry. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, it made it very clear what her intentions are. So somebody also asked, so is marriage on the table? And Martine was like, well, yeah, I'd like to get married. And Steven said, nothing. The mom says that y'all need to make something happen. Y'all need to get this relationship going. Y'all need to beef it up. Something, y'all need to make a decision of what y'all want to do, because it's been going on for so long. And so then Martine has a chance to talk to Steven's mom alone in the kitchen, and she asks his mother, so do I have any reasons to be concerned when I'm not here, as far as like trust issues? And the mom said in her confessional, before she answered, in her confessional, the mom was like, well, if my son was fooling around, I wouldn't tell her. I would talk to my son about it, but I for sure wouldn't tell her. So the mom gives her this very convoluted answer, kind of like, what, I don't even know what the mother was saying, to tell you the truth. She was saying something like, don't focus on the negative. I don't even know what this woman was saying. I didn't, whatever answer she gave, I felt like it wasn't straightforward enough when she asked, should I be concerned? Should I have any concerns? And then that whole conversation that they had together in the kitchen, the mother said nothing about, oh my God, my son is so crazy about you. All he does is talk about Martine, Martine, Martine. No, the mother said nothing like that. She was basically trying to say, stop focusing on the negative, because it's going to make you look old and ugly. That's basically what the mom, that's what I got out of the conversation. So I didn't have any faith in that conversation at all. If Martine was looking for some type of reassurance from the mother, I don't think she got it. And the mother said in her confessional that she did feel good that Martine put enough trust in the family, to go to her and have a conversation like this with her. So that made her feel good. But if I was Martine, I would not have been happy with the answers that mother gave, because it would make me extremely worried about what goes on when I'm not around. Moving on to Ariana and Sherlon. So, once again, we're back with the swollen feet. They're sitting poolside and he's looking at her feet and he's rubbing her feet and he's really concerned about her swollen feet. So Ariana is asking him, so I know that you and my mom talked about our future, so I want to have a chance to talk to you about it. So, like, what are we going to do? What are your plans? And once again, he's very wishy-washy. He says something to the effect of, I don't know what the plan is. I really don't want to talk about it. I don't like having these really serious, heavy conversations. I just want to chill and vibe and relax. And Ariana's like, we don't have much time. We need to have these conversations. We need to figure out exactly what we're going to do. And so Sherlon in his confessional says that he's not ready for marriage, and that he gives us, this long explanation about how, his parents had divorced when he was young, and it was, it really affected him really bad. And so, he doesn't want to go through that process. I don't understand why people will use something like, oh, my parents got a divorce, so I don't ever want to get married. Okay, but don't you know anybody who did not get a divorce? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, everything else that we see people do that have a negative effect doesn't affect us. We'll still do it. For example, we'll see people dying of cancer every day from smoking, and people will still pick up the habit of smoking cigarettes. We'll see people, having very unhealthy lifestyles because of their diets, people who are overweight, people who have all kinds of medical conditions because they're eating a lot of the wrong foods, bad diets, and will still eat fried chicken and cookies and whatever else, because even though we know it's not good for us and we see how it affects others, we'll still do it. The effects of drugs, we see what drugs do to people. People will still, take drugs. We see all kinds of things that people do all the time that have bad effects, and we still do those things. But then when it comes to marriage, oh, so and so got a divorce, so I'll never get married. I will never. And it's like, you're not them. You are not your parents. You and Ariana are not your parents. If you don't want to, my point is this: if you don't want to get married, just say, look, I don't want to get married. I don't want to be tied down. There are too many women in this world that I have yet to experience, and I don't want to be tied down with you. So just say, I don't want to get married. Don't come with this whole, oh, my parents and they got a divorce and I don't want to go through that. Da, da, da. Even if you yourself experienced a divorce, don't let that be a reason of why you would never want to get married again, because the next person you meet is probably going to be different from your ex. If you don't want to do it, just say, look, I don't want to get married. I don't want that. I'll help you raise this child. I'll do what I can. If you want me to come to America, I'll try to come to America, but I don't want to get married. Instead of, making up these excuses of, of whatever happened between you are not your parents. So, he says that he doesn't want to get married because of what happened with his parents, and he tells her that he has issues with he says that it takes trust, it takes commitment, and I don't think we're there yet. And if a man would have told me that, because I'm thinking to myself, I have the trust, I'm ready to commit to you. But if he says that we're not there yet with those two things, it would tell me, okay, you don't, I feel you're telling me I can't trust you and you don't want to commit to me. And then I would skedaddle. I'd be out. That'll be enough for me, because he's showing you exactly who he is, Ariana. I don't know what else you need. He hems and he haws and he's wishy-washy. He doesn't give a direct answer when it comes to your future. You're having a child in a few months, and he still cannot give you any definitive answer of what his plans are. Pack your bags and go back to Illinois. And forget about Sherlon. If he wants to be a part of the child's life, wonderful. If he doesn't want to be a part of the child's life, move on, because this is not going well. Every time that you are in a scene with Sherlon, he's embarrassing the hell out of you. Moving on. So Ariana says, well, and then he tells her, marriage is like signing a contract. It's a forever thing. Okay, your parents got married and then they got a divorce. They got in it, then they got out of it. So yes, it's some sort of a contract and you are making these taking these vows, but everybody knows that, as soon as you don't like what's going on, you can easily fall for divorce. So don't go there with that. So then Ariana says, "Well, you're basically asking me to do everything on my own until you get ready to step up to the plate." And then Ariana wants to go talk to a immigration specialist. And surprisingly, he wants to I guess he agrees to go do that. So then Sherlon, he's okay with getting a tourist visa, but he says, I don't have a problem. And this is in his confessional. He doesn't tell her this, but in his confessional, he says, I don't have a problem getting a tourist visa, going to see my son, spending some time with Ariana, and then coming back to Jamaica. I have no issue with that. Okay, once again, he's revealing who he really is. And for some reason, Ariana doesn't want to believe what her own eyeballs are telling her. So he tells and then he says that he doesn't want to be told what to do, and he doesn't want to be pressured into every single scene that Sherlon has. He's saying over and over and over, I don't want to get married, I don't want to live with you in the United States. So it's the day of the immigration. She's sitting outside of the hotel with her sister. She's calling him to see, I guess how much longer until he gets there because it's getting late. He doesn't answer the first time around, so then she texts him. And so then her and her sister are having a conversation, and she tells her sister, I was talking to him about our future and our plans, and, he's not really down with it. And then the sister in her confession is like, you know what, she needs to just forget about it. We'll be fine without him. We'll take care of Ariana and the baby. She's got a whole family behind her. She needs to just move on from him. So he finally calls her back and he's like, I'm up the road. So the bus comes to pick them up, and it's just the two of them on the bus. Excuse me. And as they're driving through the town, she can see that Jamaica has changed a lot since, tourism was really big. Now that COVID had hit, Jamaica has lost a lot of its income, and the economy is really bad since tourism basically ended from COVID. And so, she's looking around and she's seeing how devastating everything is. And Charlon said that 95% of Jamaica's economy was dependent on tourism. His own business is with tourism. He's in the tourism industry. So he was hit financially extremely hard. He said it was so bad for him that there were times when he didn't know if he was going to have anything to eat. And so he says that right now he's just so focused on getting a job and making money, and Ariana is so focused on this marriage thing, and that she forgets that there's like a whole entire global pandemic going on. I don't think she's forgotten that there's a global pandemic, but I think the baby growing in her belly is kind of taking priority for her, and so yeah, that's why she's not so focused on whatever's going on out there, because she is growing your child and she needs to figure out how she's going to care for this child. And she would really, 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 really like it if you would contribute in some way to your own son. So then, as while they're riding in the bus, Sherlon tells Ariana that he has a friend who is going through a really tough time financially, and his electricity is going to be cut off, or it was cut off. And so Sherlon was like, I just really need to figure out how to help him. And I was like, oh my gosh, Sherlon, no, read the room, honey. And so Ariana was like, well, what about you, taking care of your family? What about you thinking about your family first instead of somebody else, another grown adult? And so then he gets upset. He was like, Ariana, come on, bro. Once again, you're always bringing this up. He gets really upset when she tells him, forget about your damn friend and worry about this baby that we're having, and you contributing financially to this child. You're so worried. I kind of felt like when he brought up his friend, he was expecting Ariana to be like, oh, how much does he need? And for her to open up her pocketbook and to give him some money to give to the friend. That's what I thought he was trying to do. And so I'm glad that Ariana, brought him back to reality real quick. And she was like, you know what? You need to be worried about this child and not about some, grown adult and whether or not they're going to have lights. That's not your issue. That's not your concern. Your concern is what's going on in my belly and how much you're going to give me for that. So he gets really upset and he's like, I want to get off this bus. And it was just, he was just doing the most with the least. And I was just like, she's bringing up a good point. This is your child that she's having and you're worried about, anyways, moving on. So let's go on to Kay and Mark. So they're working out and that's where it started. And, Mark he looks very concerned all the time. And I don't know if he's really concerned about the fact whether or not he's going to convince Kay to move back to California with him. But every time I see Mark, you're on this beautiful island, with this beautiful woman, having a good time, chilling, vibing, whatever. Why are you always looking so, pent up and so concerned? Anyways, maybe it's just me. So then she tries to teach him some Spanish, and obviously, he really sucks at it. And which is funny because he's from California, I'm like, you need to do better than hola. He didn't even know como te llamos or donde vive. He didn't even know how to answer any of that. When she says to him, donde vives, excuse me, my Spanish is rusty, but I know way more than him. I'm practically a fluent Spanish speaker compared to Mark. When she said donde vives, he said casa. I thought, come on, you're from California. You don't even know how to say vivo United States. Okay, so she's trying to teach him Spanish and he's failing miserably. And then finally they get, I guess after they worked out and after they took showers and everything, they're sitting on her couch and, he wants to ask her about her marriage and her divorce because it's something that she never talks about. So he brings up the marriage and he says, I want you to tell me a little bit more about what happened with your ex-husband. And so in a nutshell, she tells him that she was married and her husband was very busy traveling for work. And when he was home, he was always watching soccer, drinking beer, basically doing everything but being a husband to her. So she felt very neglected, very alone. And so she cheated on him. And he found out about it. And when he found out about it, I think it was through text messages or something, they had a conversation and they basically decided that the marriage was going to end. And so in her confessional, Kay said that when it comes to infidelity, you just cannot blame the one who cheated. You also have to blame the non-cheating partner as well because they must have done something to make the cheating partner cheat. And I was like, oh my God, that's not going to go over well with most of the women watching the show. The issue always to me when it comes to infidelity, the issue is never the fact that you have feelings for someone else, that you fell out of love with your spouse or whatever, and you want to experience something else and something new and different and outside of them. That's not the issue to me. The issue is always is if you have those feelings, fine, whatever. But why can't you tell your partner, this is what I'm feeling. I don't want to go to counseling. I don't want to go to therapy. I just want out. That's all I want. I just want to be happy and I want out. It's not you. You're the best husband. You're the best wife, whatever. You're going to make someone else extremely happy, but I'm not happy and I want out. And I don't want to do anything to embarrass you, to embarrass myself or our family. I don't want to go out there and get all caught up. I just want a clean break and us go our separate ways. Why can't that be the conversation? It's like it's okay if you fall in love with someone else. That's fine. But don't act on it until you have made clean and cut clean ties from your current before you move on to your next. So that's what she said. Okay. So then he is like, he was a little concerned. He was like, in his confessional, he says, I kind of wonder if, if she's going to find an excuse to do that to me, if that's going to happen to us. So then they go off and he teaches her how to surf. So they're out on the ocean. They play around in the water. Kay is not a water person. Even though she lives on this island, she's not a water person. She prefers to do activities on land. So once they're done with the whole surfing lesson, they go back and they sit down and he tells her, I want to talk about the future and I want to talk about us and I want you to come back to California with me. And she's like, I don't know about that, because I really love my island. I love living here. My life is established here. And he says, well, if you can't go back to California with me, I don't think we can be together. And so Kay is like, so you're basically giving me an ultimatum. Like, if I don't go back, then it's over. And she says, I don't like ultimatums. I don't like being told what to do. And so the most that I can give you right now is that I will think about it. And he says, well, by the end of this trip, I need we need to come up with a definitive answer of what we're going to do, because he says that if I'm in California and you're here, we're going to be seeing other people. And Kay is like, and you don't want that. You don't want me to see other people. And he says, if you're with me, no, I don't want you to see other people. So that's when he tells her, I want you to come back to me. And that's when she says, you know what, I'll think about it. That's the most that I can do. So we will see how that goes. And that is Kay and Mark. Moving on to Amber and Daniel. So they decide to go dancing, and they go to a nightclub, and it is Amber, Daniel, his brother David, and a friend. I think his name was Alfredo. So they're all sitting there having drinks. Everything is fine. They go dancing on the dance floor. And, believe it or not, I thought, Amber has some moves on her. She was like, moving like a little slinky all over him and grinding on him and all of that. And he says that he loves how she dances. And, her dancing turns him on. And she looks really sexy when she's dancing on the dance floor. And he says he really loves her and he's really feeling him some Amber on that dance floor. And so then they go sit down, and then he goes to the bar to get more drinks. Now, when he's at the bar, a young lady comes up and they start conversating. And I didn't take it as anything really crazy. The lady kept on talking to him, and he was just being nice and polite talking to her. And so Amber was watching this from across the room, and then she was heated. She bolted up, and she went up there, and she completely got all up in between them, and she was like, "Hi, hi, I'm Amber, hi," and the girl, she scared the girl off, and then she got mad at Daniel, and she was like, I can't believe you're doing this right in front of me. And then in her confessional, she talks about how one of her exes was cheating on her, like right in front of her eyes. Like she had no idea that, I guess, whoever he was talking to in front of her was someone that he was having an affair with behind her back. And so when she saw that, I guess it really, truly triggered something. And yeah, she lost it. She lost her cool completely. And so Daniel, of course, he's like, what's wrong? She was talking to me. I was just being polite. And she was like, how dare you talk to another woman in front of me? And I don't know, maybe, I don't know what she expected. I guess she just expected him to just like turn his back on the girl and completely ignore her. I mean, I don't think, Daniel is young and dumb, but I don't think he's that dumb to like try to pick up a girl right in front of Amber, knowing how crazy Amber is and how possessive she is. And so when they're sitting back at the table, she's going on and on about, how dare you flirt with another girl in front of me? And he's like, I wasn't flirting with her. And then the brother tells the friend, this is what happens every time we go out. This is exactly what happens. And then the friend was like, that's why I'm single. I'm not attached to no one. And maybe Daniel should do the same. And so Daniel tells Amber, you see, my friends and my brother, they're saying that maybe I should be single. And so like Amber was like, okay, you know what? Go ahead and be single. So she gets up and she leaves, and Daniel goes chasing after her. And that's where we end. So I don't know what to say about that. To me, it didn't seem like he was trying to pick up this chick in front of Amber. I don't think he's that stupid. But I think Amber is completely insecure. Probably because, I don't know, her age. I don't know. She seems to be very much insecure. And I think she overreacted. I think Amber completely overreacted, and she just should have been cool, calm, and but I think it's a whole bunch of stuff just building up. He didn't do the paperwork. He quit his job. He wants his family to come with him to the United States. And so when she saw that, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. So we'll see what happens next week with them. Thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, you are a true superstar. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will most definitely talk to you again.